afternoon, everybody. My name is Laura, and this is Hedgehog's Homestead. Today we are going to be making a nice soft bread. This is a loaf that you can make for your family. Last year around this time we were facing crisis in the store, and one of the things that was really hard to get was bread, and so a lot of people bought flour. Well, this is a pretty simple recipe. It's great for an everyday loaf of bread. The children will love it, and let's get to it. We're going to start with, I'm going to make a larger loaf, and so, I'm sorry, I'm just using my little cheater notes here. We're going to do 280 mils of water, and that is basically a cup and 3/4. So I'm just kind of doing the math in my head, or weigh things, I should say. So I have my scale down here. I have a bowl on it, and we are going to get the water out of the microwave. We want our water about 90 degrees to 110 degrees. Usually if you put it 30 minutes in a microwave, about that much water will be in that range. So just to give you a little cheat on that. Always test it just in case. Okay, 0 mils, and now we want 280 mils. That's 290. $280. Okay, put that in our mixer, and now we're going to add our yeast and our sugar, because you always put the water, the yeast, and the sugar together. And a lot of recipes aren't written out that way, but you'll get your best results if you start with that and put it in your mixer together. It helps the yeast feed. And when you help the yeast feed before you start your bread, guys, a better rise on your yeast, on your bread. So I keep mine in the freezer. We want 1/2 teaspoon of yeast. There we go. 1/2 teaspoon. And I always put this back right away, because you don't want to leave it out. Yeast gets ruined very easy, so. Okay, so we got that in there. Now we want to put our sugar in. And our sugar is 3 tablespoons. Well, that's a lot of sugar for it to rise on. Be sure it says 3 tablespoons. This isn't my normal recipe, so I'm going to double check. Yep. This is raw sugar. You can use any sugar you like. Okay. So now what we're going to put on top of that is that we want to put our flour. Okay. If you're not sure if and this is a fast-acting yeast, if you're not sure if your yeast is any good, you might want to test it, put it in the water, and the sugar and the yeast together, and if it gives some nice bubbles, then you know it's good yeast. Okay, so now we need 4 cups, level cups. 4 cups of either non-bleached all-purpose flour. Non-bleached is the important part, guys. If you're going to use all-purpose, non-bleached works the best. I'm using bread flour today. It's because it's what's open, and it does work really well in this recipe. So that's the first cup. Second cup. Third cup. And the fourth cup, I'm going to put half in and hold half back, because today's a pretty dry day, so it might not be that humid, so we may not need all that flour. So we just keep it aside. We didn't put it back in the flour container. Okay, and then we need 4 tablespoons of milk powder. You'll find milk powder in a lot of bread recipes. It's because it makes the bread nice and soft. This is a soft bread, so 3. There's our milk powder. And then our last ingredient, and then we're going to add just a tablespoon of salt. I'm sorry, a teaspoon of salt. I was going to say, that doesn't sound right. I use Himalayan, pink Himalayan salt. You can use table salt. You can use any salt you like. It does help with the flavor of the bread. A lot of people are like, why do you need salt in bread? It does help with the flavor. There you go. And our last ingredient is butter. And how much butter do we need? We need 1 1/2 ounces. So got our scale, got our cup on it. Now we're going to go to ounces. Okay. And we want 1 1/2 ounce of butter. See how much butter that is. So that's about 2 1/2 tablespoons of butter, guys. To start mixing it, we're going to mix it on 2. And when it starts to come together, I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll show you inside the bowl if I need to add flour. We'll put our scale away. I always clean up as I go along and keep my eye on my bread. How much flour I have left, but looking at my dough, it's already coming together and it's come away from the sides of the bowl. We don't need any more flour in that. I'm just going to feel it. Yeah, it's perfect. So now we're going to mix it on 2 for 7 minutes. Siri, give me my timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes and counting.
What you want your dough to look like, guys. See how it's turning into a ball now? Okay guys, I turned it off 3 minutes early because it's really incorporated well and it is making a nice ball now. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little flour on my counter. I'm going to move you guys back over in front of me so you can see more. And I took my reins off, and I'm just going to give this, after it turned in there for a little bit, just a couple little, just to feel the dough. Just knead it a couple times. Okay, it's really incorporated well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to form a nice little ball. Helps make the tension on the top. And the reason why you want tension on the top of your dough like that is because it helps it rise. This is just a cooking spray. I spray it in my pan. Because even though this is a non-stick spray where the joints meet, it can get stuck there. So I lay my loaf in my bread pan. And now I'm gonna put it back. I put it back in my loaf pan, just like so. And you can see how small it is in there. And now we're gonna let it go for a second rise. My yeast must your bread loaf to be from the start that you get it at to doubling, and that's what mine did. It went actually a little long, but that's okay. And now we're putting it back in the final place that it's going to cook in. We put a little spray in here, and now we're going to put it back in our proofing oven, or our oven with our light on, for until it has doubled in size in this pan, and then we cook it. So we're going to go ahead and put it back probably for another hour or two in this pan with some saran wrap on it. I can just use the saran wrap that I had from the other bowl and put it over here. Doesn't have to be perfectly tight on there or anything. The oven will make it, being in a warm place will make it fit on there better. Mine fits okay. So we got the saran wrap on there, and now back into the oven. For now, the second rise. Bread, you always do first rise, second rise. There's very few breads like that simple loaf that's a one rise. So there you go, guys. We'll come back as soon as that's risen its second time, and we'll tell you what to do next. Thank you. Nice and golden brown. Stick our thermometer in there. Fits perfectly in there, and I just put it in there, and I put this in after I've cut into it, and it keeps that end fresh. And something like this, when you're making homemade bread, it doesn't have all the preservatives. This will last a little bit longer because it's got a little sugar in it, but it doesn't have all the preservatives in it. So with me and my husband, I make about one loaf a week. And if we have more people, I'd probably make 2 loaves a week. But I'm gonna have to get some more wheat bread or wheat and make that honey loaf, honey wheat bread for you. But just a simple loaf, wasn't that hard. You guys saw the process. So if the bread aisles ever run out again, you guys have a way to make bread. There is other recipes. You don't have to put the milk powder in it. You could just do a simple white loaf. But that does make it a little softer. It doesn't really lend to, it doesn't give it any, it gives it a slight different taste, but it's more, it just makes it a little more softer. So we'll let this sit and cool for 2 hours, and then I'll cut into it for you guys and give you the final look. Okay, we'll be back. Okay guys, let's cut this thing open, and you guys can see inside, and I think I'm gonna have some toast with Nutella tonight. Still a little bit warm, but you know how hard it is to wait on bread, especially homemade bread when you're sitting there smelling it.